friends, welcome to a reading vlog. This is my first time doing one of these, so I'm very excited to read together and yap about some books. I have 2 books on the agenda for this week. I'm gonna read Red Rising first by Pierce Brown, and then I'm gonna read Silver Elite by Dani Francis. I'm very excited for both of these. Silver Elite recently came out. It's the first book in a series. It follows Ren, who is a psychic, which is punishable by death in this dystopian world that she lives in. It is also a romance, so she joins the Silver Block, which is a training program, and she starts falling for her commanding officer. I've heard a lot of controversial and conflicting things about this one, so I'm very curious to read it. Red Rising is also the first book in a series. There are 6 books out so far, but the series is still ongoing. This book is sci-fi. It follows Darrow, who lives in a caste-colored society set in the future, and he is a red, which is the lowest caste. Him and all of his people are miners on Mars, and they've never been above ground. They believe that they're mining to make Mars livable for future generations. But actually, this whole time, Mars has been livable. Other people have been living above ground, but the Reds are all forced underground and lied to. They're essentially slaves. So that's the setup for this book. This reading vlog will be spoiler free. Everything I've said so far is just based on the descriptions of the books, the synopsis that it gives you beforehand. So I'm really looking forward to reading both of these and diving into them together. I'm only a few chapters in, and it's very interesting so far. Since it's from the perspective of a teenage boy, the way that it's written is kind of reminding me of Sunrise on the Reaping. That's one of the most recent books I've read, but that's from Hamish's perspective, who's also a teenage boy. So I feel like the writing style and just the way the character thinks is very blunt, a little bit crass. Let me give you some examples just from the first few pages. On the first page, he's talking about how his dad died because he was hung, and this is the way that he describes it. On Mars, there's not much gravity, so you have to pull the feet to break the neck. They let the loved ones do it. I feel like every single paragraph on the first few pages, I had to reread it right after, and I was just kind of like, wait, did he really just say that? The way it's written is just different than a lot of other books, and it was kind of catching me off guard. It really just jumps right into the action, everything that's going on. There's a lot of complex world building, so there's a lot of lingo to learn, but I do like it. It's very creative, very well thought out. It just took me a second to get used to. Another example is literally the next paragraph. He starts talking about how they wear these suits and they just have to pee in their suit. They wear the suit all day, and how everything stinks. Then a few paragraphs later, he's talking about these poisonous snakes. And then on like the 3rd page, he reveals that he's married at the age of 16. And that's not abnormal for their society. So there's just a lot going on, but I kind of love it. I just got to part 2, and this book is so good. I don't know why I didn't have super high expectations going into it. I think because it's science fiction and I haven't read a ton of science fiction, but I'm starting to think that might be my new favorite genre, actually. I thought I was a big romance girly, and I still do love a good romance subplot, but I think dystopian and sci-fi is really what I'm most interested in a story. It's interesting that I'm on part 2 because I'm not even that far into the book. I think I'm at 60 pages right now of about 400 pages. So I don't know how many parts there are, but I am hooked. Just like the first few pages, I'm reading stuff and I'm going, oh my gosh, did that really just happen? And then rereading, but in a good way. It's not that I'm not understanding, it's just so fast paced you really jump right into it, and I'm having the best time. My favorite TV show is The 100, and it's reminding me a lot of that. That's also sci-fi, which is a large part of why I'm thinking, oh, maybe sci-fi really is my favorite genre. It's not really that the stories are that similar, it's just there are some similarities, and I'm really enjoying the complexity of the book, which is a big part of why I like that show as well. I'm gonna keep reading. I imagine I'm gonna want to read the whole series after this, but I don't want to say that too soon. I'm just enjoying it so far. I just read a metaphor in here that I really like. It's talking about bugs, specifically fleas, and how if you have a bunch of fleas, they're going to jump and jump. You don't know how high they'll jump, but if you put a jar over them, then now they have a limit to how high they can reach. They have that glass ceiling of the jar. They can't jump any further. And then if you take the jar away, they'll still only jump to that height of the jar because that's what they're used to. And even though they technically could jump higher, they don't know any better, so they won't. And I just thought that was such a creative metaphor for the situation in the book. In this world, the Reds, like our main character, they're miners. They've only ever lived underground, and that's just what they're used to. They think that the surface isn't survivable. They just go along with the ways that they're mistreated, the things that they're told to do, kind of the lack of freedom that they are forced into because they don't know that there's more freedom to be had. I just love how the author described that. I'm just loving reading this book. I'm definitely making my husband read this after me. I am almost halfway done with the book. I was talking with Adam last night and we realized that we both read really slowly. So we timed ourselves for 10 minutes and only read about 5 or 6 pages, which it is sci-fi. So I feel like it does take a little more time to comprehend what I'm reading. There's a lot of unique lingo to this book, but at the same time, that's only about 30 pages an hour, which is not a lot. So we were looking up speed reading techniques, and apparently I had no idea about this, but to read quickly, you're not supposed to say the words in your head. And I always say the words in my head when I'm reading. So I was practicing last night and I basically doubled my reading time. So I was able to read 10 pages of this book in 10 minutes, which is 60 pages per hour. So that's still kind of slow, but I think if it were something like a romance book, I could read a lot faster. But that helped me make a pretty good amount of progress on the book. So I think I'm on page 170 now, around there. It's really warm outside right now, and it's actually our 3-year wedding anniversary today. So we're gonna go sit on our back deck and read together. Good morning. I'm wearing glasses because I got an eyelash stuck in my eye. I'm on chapter 30 of Red Rising now and loving it, making good progress, but I did take a short little break to start Sincerely Stoneheart. This is a recent release. It is a Christian novel and it's written similarly to C.S. Lewis's Screwtape Letters. So the entire book is formatted as letters. There are 42 letters in it. Yeah, 42. And they're written from a senior demon writing to a lower level demon basically about how to turn a Christian away from God. This book is a more modern version of the Screwtape Letters, but it's also specifically written towards women. I only read the introduction and the first letter, but I'm liking it so far. The first letter was all about distraction, and I feel like that is something that has been very much on my mind lately, thinking about how much time am I spending on my phone, how much time am I spending looking at any sort of screen versus spending that time doing a hobby I enjoy, like reading, or just spending time with my son and my husband. We actually just canceled our Netflix subscription yesterday, and I feel like that seems kind of crazy to say. Seems like everyone has Netflix, but we realized we hadn't watched TV in a week or two, and it honestly just didn't make sense anymore for us to have Netflix. We don't keep a TV on the first floor of our house, so we're never tempted to watch it. I'm not opposed to watching TV, but I do feel like it can be a distraction from spending more time talking with each other and doing the things that I actually want to do. We had kind of felt stuck, like we didn't have enough time to do all the little hobbies and different things we wanted to do for ourselves. And once we really cut back watching TV, we had so much more time for ourselves. Neither of us have notifications for any apps on our phones, no emails, no text messages. We've really cut back on time we spend on social media. I don't think TV or social media are all inherently bad. I just think it can be a distraction from other things in life that bring joy. And I do like that this book is diving into that. So I feel like I just really appreciate the message of this book. It's only 200 pages, so it'll be an easy read. I don't read a lot of books like this. I really do like romance and dystopian books, less practical advice books, but I heard about this one and immediately requested it from the library. Just something about it resonated with me. I wanted to add that I'm not going to stop reading Red Rising while reading this. I'll probably just read a few of the letters every night. Adam said he wants to read it with me, so we'll probably read them, talk about them, and then I'm still mostly working my way through Red Rising and moving on to Silver Elite when I finish this. My mom actually bought me the rest of this series yesterday, and that was so sweet of her. It's gonna be so difficult to stop reading this series to read other books, but I think it is good to kind of take a break, bounce between books in a series, and come back to it. I also think that'll be fun because my mom has read Red Rising, but neither of us have read the rest of the series. Obviously, this is my first time reading Red Rising, so it'll be really fun to read the rest of the books with her and talk about them. She is a very fast reader, so we will see how quickly we get through the rest of the series. I feel like the author is very funny on social media and in his books. The way that he writes, just being so blunt, cracks me up. A lot of the stuff is very brutal and violent in this book, but just the way he says it so quickly and then moves on has made me laugh out loud so many times. Maybe that's just dark humor, but I don't know. It's good stuff. I'm just a little further than halfway done with the book right now. Where we're at now is taking place out of school. It honestly was kind of reminding me of Harry Potter because there are a bunch of different houses that they're sorted into. More of a violent Harry Potter. And I get that there is violence in Harry Potter, but this book is very brutal. There's a lot of dark stuff going on, but it's not gory. Like I said, he moves very quickly. He'll kind of just say something really bad that happened in a sentence or two, and then we've moved on. So you don't really dwell on it too much. There is a lot of kind of disturbing stuff happening, but because of the way it's written, being kind of so fast-paced, so blunt, doesn't really make me picture it too much, so it doesn't really bother me. The back of the book says that it's reminiscent of the Hunger Games and Game of Thrones, and there are kind of like trials and tests and war games going on right now, so I do get where that's coming from. I don't think that I would necessarily think of the Hunger Games while reading this. It is violent, the kids are attacking each other. I haven't read Game of Thrones, so I can't compare it to that. But even though there's a lot of violence in this book, the point of it isn't for them to attack each other. That does happen, that's not a requirement of them though. It's more about psychoanalyzing each other and trying to gain power. How the kids choose to do that is sort of up to them. So I see how that could remind someone of the Hunger Games, but if it didn't say that on the back of the book, I wouldn't have thought of it. It's very interesting to be in his head as he makes decisions and as he psychoanalyzes the other kids and figures out their reasoning behind different decisions. So I'm really enjoying the psychological aspect of this. I am so close to finishing this book. I have less than 50 pages left, so I'm definitely gonna finish it today. It actually is reminding me a lot of the Hunger Games. I did not realize that the war games in this book were such a huge part of the book. It takes place over a longer span of time though, and it's very good. It's definitely different from the Hunger Games. I just see where that resemblance comes from now, whereas before I thought it was a little bit far-fetched. But I am loving this. My mom is rereading the book now because I was telling her how much I'm liking it. My husband is gonna read this next. A couple of my friends are reading the book right now. So I'm making everyone I know read this book. If you're looking for a good book to read Red Rising if you're into sci-fi. I finished Red Rising and this book was so good. It exceeded my expectations. I didn't really know exactly what to expect going into it, but I really enjoyed this. I actually read it because it was a book club pick that I'm going to. So it's not really a book that I would have planned on reading anytime soon. I did have it on my bookshelf, so I guess it was on my TBR in that sense. But I am so glad that I picked it up now and got the rest of the series. I'm really excited to keep reading the other books. Not only is the premise of the story interesting, but it's also executed very well. There's enough world building that it's detailed and interesting. They have this whole color cast system and it explains that well, but it doesn't overdo it to the point of making it boring or making the plot of the book slow down. It's a very fast-paced book, very action-packed. It is quite violent at a lot of points, but it also has a lot of dry humor, which actually made me laugh out loud a lot of times while reading it. So that really lightened the mood of the book and made it very enjoyable. It's really cool being in Darrow's head, hearing his inner thoughts, and kind of seeing how his perception of things changes as he transforms in more ways than one throughout the story. The entire time I didn't know what to expect. I did not know what was going to happen next. Even at the end, I know there are 5 more books that are published in this series and I don't know what to expect from those. So I'm very excited to read them. I have absolutely no critiques of this book. I loved it. I think this is really going to get me on a sci-fi kick. So if you're at all into sci-fi or dystopian books, I highly recommend Red Rising. It's late, I'm gonna go to sleep, and tomorrow I will start Silver Elite. I started Silver Elite, and y'all, it is so bad so far. I am only 1 chapter in, and I wanted to read more of it before updating you guys on my thoughts, but I already have so many thoughts, so I don't know. I keep reading a little bit more and thinking hopefully it'll get better, but I just already have so many things in my mind that are going against it. I don't know, I'm worried I might DNF it or give it a low rating. I'm only 1 chapter in, I already said that, but I just feel like I shouldn't dislike it this much so far, and if I do, what's the chance it's really gonna get better? But I am gonna keep reading. I don't think I can just judge it based on its first chapter, but I do want to give you my initial thoughts. So there's a few different things I heard about this book going into it, and I thought having the right expectations would help me enjoy it, but it didn't help. One thing is this is advertised as a dystopian romance book, and I heard it is much more romance, much less dystopian. So I thought that knowing that going into it would make it okay. I could just expect a nice romance book, but it is bothering me. The first page felt like it was going to be a good dystopian book, and then the second page she's just having a one-night stand with a random soldier who's on the enemy side, technically would want to turn her in if he knew her true identity. And then 2 pages later she's in a different soldier's room trying to sleep with this guy too. All the stuff that is dystopian about this book also feels like it's reused from every other dystopian book. The basic premise of the book is she is psychic, and that's punishable by death, which is kind of reminding me of Powerless. It's different, but in Powerless, Peyton was pretending to be a psychic. This is also very reminiscent of Divergent because she's falling for the commanding officer at a training program. Also, when she was having the one-night stand, she had a rifle with her, and the guy asked her why she had a gun, and she said it was because she was a farmer and needed to protect the farm from coyotes. And I thought she was just kidding so that she could get out of the situation. But at the end of the chapter, she sees a coyote and she says, "The same coyote has been a menace around the ranch too. I found one of my heifers dead in the south pasture 2 mornings ago." So I guess she actually is a farmer. I don't know why that bothered me, but I am just not liking our main character. I don't really like her personality. I think she's kind of careless. Also, a man trying to attack her and she's just talking about how beautiful his eyes are and how she wishes she had slept with him instead of the other guy she slept with. Not a fan of that. Another very controversial thing about this book is people believe Dani Francis, the author, that she is using a pen name, because there's no information about her on social media. She's not doing any interviews. We don't really know anything about her. And I even read her about the author in the back, and it sounds so generic to me. You'd think it would be written a bit better. And another theory because of that pen name situation that I've heard is that the entire book was written by AI, and I don't think that people should make that accusation lightly. I wouldn't jump to that conclusion. It just does feel like it is not original content, and even reading her about the author in the back, I felt that way too. I feel like you could have put in ChatGPT, write me a generic about the author description and add something a little bit funny and relatable at the end, and it would come out with this. Dani Francis is an avid reader, a lover of all things breakfast, and a hopeless romantic. When she is not creating high-stakes fantasy worlds and complex characters, you can find her spending time with family or trying to figure out why the printer never works. I don't want to be too critical of this book right off the bat, and I don't want to let other people's opinions get into my head, but I am just really not impressed so far. I mean, literally, you don't know anything about this woman from her about the author. I don't know where she lives. It says she loves spending time with her family, but I don't know anything about her family. Is she married? Does she have kids? We know she loves breakfast. She likes to read. She's a romantic. So we know nothing. I am gonna keep reading. I'm just not feeling super optimistic. Part of that could be that Red Rising was a true 5-star read for me. It was so good. And now comparing this to that, this is just a disappointment. And I don't think it's just the genre. I think I could easily read a good romance book and love it, give it 5 stars. I just don't like it so far. And I've said multiple times out loud to my husband while reading just the first chapter that I hope it gets better. That I truly want to like this book. So it's not for a lack of trying, but I will keep you updated as I continue reading with all the thoughts that come to me. Right now, if I don't DNF this, I'm predicting a 2.5, maybe 3-star read. I hope it doesn't come to that. I really hope I like it. Oh, I just need to keep reading. Our main character, Ren, is just so full of herself. And I think that's why I can't like her. She just saved a little boy's life. Someone's thanking her for it and she just shrugs. She doesn't care. She also says she's different than all the other psychics. The guy she slept with is trying to talk to her and check if she's okay. She doesn't even know his name. Doesn't care to know. Doesn't care to talk to him. This girl is just not pleasant. Your main character has to be likable, right? Otherwise, why would I want to spend all my time with her? You either gotta be likable or relatable, I feel like. Maybe she'll have a redemption arc. Maybe she'll become likable. Is that too much to hope for? Maybe this evil commanding officer that she wants to sleep with is gonna make her a better person. Wouldn't that be nice? I am 100 pages into Silver Elite right now. That's how far I got last night. And it is growing on me a little bit. I would not say that I like it necessarily, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. I still think the first chapter was just not good and probably shouldn't have been in the book. In my personal opinion, it just really threw me off. She has just gotten to the training academy and it's been very action-packed so far. A lot of it feels very surface level. There are also a lot of predictable plot twists that I'm anticipating. She has a best guy friend who she's never met. We're introduced to him in chapter 2, and as soon as that happened, I was just like, is this not obviously the love interest? It's definitely the same guy that she's gonna be crushing on who's leading this whole training program, right? Which is also the same guy in the first chapter who she was trying to sleep with. That's all what I was thinking when I read chapter 2. So I don't know if that's how it'll play out, but if it does, that's very predictable. There are also a lot of overused romance tropes already. We haven't even gotten to any of the spicy scenes yet, but they're kind of going for the soldier romance and also the cowgirl romance. So it's an interesting mashup. Seems like our main character is just attracted to every guy she lays her eyes on. So there's not much depth to any of her romantic attractions so far. There's also not much depth to the world building. We just don't really know a lot about the dystopian society that she's in. It's kind of like the bare minimum details, which is why I think this makes it feel like a lot of unoriginal content. It's not that it's bad, it's just not anything new. It does make this a very easy read. If you're looking for something that's quick to read, easy writing style, this fits that. For dystopian though, I'd like it to make me think more. I would want it to make me read slower. So while it is nice to kind of be flying through the pages, I wouldn't have expected that with a dystopian novel, and I don't really prefer that. I get it for a romance though, but this isn't just a romance, or at least that's not how it's advertised. It's advertised as a dystopian book with romance, specifically spicy romance. We'll see how the rest of the book plays out, but I don't know. I have been enjoying the action in the book though. I feel like some aspects of these first 100 pages made me feel for our main character, so I don't feel completely detached from her. Still don't love her and really connect with her, but she's a little bit more likable in my eyes. I am glad that it got better after the first chapter. I was hoping it would, but I just wasn't super optimistic. It is giving more of Divergent vibes now that we are in the training program. So I do think I'm gonna enjoy that. It's just an interesting setting to be in. There have been steps to kind of set up the romance, but nothing's really happened yet. I'm interested to see if I will like the couple as the book goes on, because they're not a couple yet. Also, kind of random, but her name is Ren Darlington. As soon as I read that, it just reminded me of Wendy Darling from Peter Pan. The name didn't really sound original. There's a lot of just cheesy writing. Like, her talking about how trying to survive is fine, but having awkward conversations after a one-night stand is just the worst. I feel bad being so critical, so I really am trying to be open-minded as I continue reading this. But it's just made me laugh out loud a few times, and not in a good way. On a more positive note, my husband built all of these bookshelves for me yesterday, and they came out so nicely. We have to get them mounted to the walls, and we have to get some electrical work done before we can do that. But I am so excited to organize all my books on there and have so much more space for new books. So I'm really excited. Now our walls kind of have bookshelves in all four corners of the room. They're all the Billy bookshelves from IKEA. I was really pleased that they had the option to do the corner bookshelf because I really wanted that. And when we had ordered all of the other bookshelves in this room, I didn't know that that was an option. So we just kind of had this wall with nothing on there. The chair was pushed more back in the corner, so we just pulled this chair out a little further into the center of the room. But I want to get some wall decor at some point for right there, and there's a little bit of space on the wall on the other side as well. So it'll be fun for this room to continue coming together. Adam started reading Red Rising last night as well, and it's making me really want to start Golden Sun, which is the second book in this series. So I am trying to quickly finish Silver Elite so I can get to this next. Back to reading. I have been trying my absolute hardest to finish this book, and I feel like if anything, my opinion of it has only gotten worse. I kept hoping there would be more depth to her relationship, and there's just not. And it's gotten to the spicy scenes, and I am physically grimacing reading them. I just don't find the story believable that she would truly move past some of the things just because she finds him attractive. This is my face reading the spicy scenes. That's not a good thing. I'm not enjoying it. I probably should DNF this book, but I have a very completionist mindset and I'm already 350 pages done. So I'm gonna power through the last 150 pages and then I'll give you my final rating. Although I'm sure you can already tell it's not gonna be good. Also, I went to a book club for Red Rising this week and that was so much fun. That was my first time going to a book club in person. I've gone to some on Zoom before and I didn't love that because I feel like it's hard to really interact as much when you're in a Zoom room with 70 other people. And even though there were a lot of people at this book club, we kind of broke up into smaller groups. So I feel like I was able to contribute. It was fun to hear other people's thoughts, and they gave us these really cute bookmarks. My husband is borrowing the Red Rising one right now, but the next read is One Golden Summer. So this bookmark kind of fits the theme for that. And I did buy that book because I'm planning on reading it for the book club. In addition to One Golden Summer, I actually bought a bunch of other books. So let's do a little book haul before I finish reading Silver Elite. First, One Golden Summer. This is a romance book and it's also the next book club pick for the book club that I'm in. 1984, my husband has been asking me to read this, saying that it's the OG dystopian novel. So I finally got it. It'll be very interesting to see how this compares to more modern day dystopian books, since I think a lot of them kind of got inspo from this book. Done and dusted. I've been wanting to read a cowboy romance book, and I know that Lila Sage recently came out with the final book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So I wanted to pick up the first book of that series and finally start it. Lights Out. This is a dark romance book. The 7-Year Slip. I've been seeing a lot of people reading this book. It is a romance where he lives 7 years in the past and she is 7 years in his future. So I'm really curious to see how that dynamic is gonna play out in their love story. I don't know if they'll somehow merge the timelines or if it's just kind of sad love that can never be, but I'm excited to read this. Wayward. This book is about 3 witches in 3 different timelines. So We see a few different characters and how witchcraft plays out in all the different eras. It's set in 1619, 1942, and 2019. This author recently released another book called Sirens, and it's kind of a similar setup with 3 timelines, 3 different sirens. I want to read that as well, but I figured I should read this one first and make sure I like it before buying them both. Shield of Sparrows. This is a romantasy. This is another book that I've been seeing a lot about, so I'm really excited about this one. Here is the full book haul stack. There are a lot of good books here. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to fit all of these on my TBR cart. I have not bought any new books in a while, so I am excited about all of these. And since I have all these new bookshelves, I need more books to fill them, of course. That will come with time though. All right, back to reading Silver Elite. I'm so sorry if you liked this book, but I did not at all. I rated it 2 stars. Everything that I said after reading the first few chapters held through for the rest of the book. I didn't really feel any emotional connection to any of the characters. I don't think that the dystopian society was really well described. It felt kind of generic, not original. It reminded me a lot of Divergent. There were a couple parts in the book at the beginning and the end where it dived into her powers a little bit more, and I found that interesting. But apart from that, I did not enjoy the book. I thought that it was predictable. I did not think any of the relationships were realistic. I felt very frustrated by our main character. I feel like her actions and her thoughts didn't really line up well. Overall, this book just felt very flat to me. Like there wasn't much depth to it in the plot, in the characters, really in anything. I did not like this one, but I am glad that I had a 5-star read in this video. I loved Red Rising. Thank you for coming along and reading with me. If you want to see me read more books and hear my thoughts, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.